Oh, welcome to ChattyCoffeeCrew. Here's your host, Shyzabox. Whoa! Oh, girl, calm down. Whoa, we're there. Oh, get out of here. And the horse you rode in on. Huh. Jeez. Apprentice, get out of the way. It's our show. Jeez. Ladies and gentle persons, we've got a show for you today. You might be saying, damn it. But we do. Let's get us set up. Shouldn't you already be? Don't worry about it. We should already be lots of things. Well on our way to an established career. We should be, already getting paid by YouTube for all of those views that we don't have yet. All the little things. But, lo and behold, we have shown up. You are welcome, enter of the net. Are we? Debatable. But what isn't debatable is the fact that we have a show for you today. You might be saying, well, get on with it. And believe you me, we are. Because that's what we're here for. So, today, we hope that you have your coffees. Welcome to ChattyCoffeeCrew. You might be saying, I don't
You've got mail.
I'm in line at Starbucks. Obviously. You should have shown up there an hour earlier so that you would have been towards the front. But, because you decided to take your time and show up when it was convenient for you, now you have to wait in line at Starbucks for your coffee, and all the rest of us at home or work or anywhere else that we wouldn't say enjoying this, but tolerating it, right? Like, oh, well, I guess this is on. Yes, obviously. When we see niches that are unfilled, like, who's that one celebrity? Like us, you'd be saying, what, you're a celebrity? Yes, a bad one. We called the Daryl Dixon dibs on the ground floor level. Okay? Everything else that you watch is better. But there's one celebrity, you might be familiar with them. They're a celebrity like us. Now, they're a little more renowned, sure, a little more famous, popular, a lot more accolades and awards and credentials to their name. But did they minor in philosophy in college? We have no idea. We did, and because everyone's making such great use of their college degrees nowadays, we're falling back on ours. Oh, our minor in philosophy. So, Shyzabox, and we have entertainment. Where's that? Not here. We have it other places. That is far more entertaining when you tolerate this momentarily, right? You don't even have to tolerate the whole thing. Pull up a separate tab, mute this one, go about your day. We get the view. You don't gotta watch it. Bada bing. Symbiotic. In our benefit. YouTube wants us to have X amount of watch of the hours before they give us fractions of the cents, right? So, needless to say, today we are talking candy. You might be saying, well, it's about time. You've been on for almost 5 minutes. And it's like, well, how else do you pad out the episode and get content, right? By making it. Well, sure, by making it. You know what we've seen made, and we don't want to harp on all of those celebrities that are better than us. We know our place. We're the worst, okay? We call dibs. Daryl Dixon dibs from The Walking Dead. Maybe you're familiar with it. So we're the worst. We understand our place, okay? You have all these other celebrities out there, and we've seen some of their content. Hell, we watch a lot of other celebrities' content besides some of the ones we've seen, okay? Now, we're not saying that shows like this, individuals like us, hell, there's sometimes we can barely tolerate, other people in general, let alone let them be around us, so the point is that we've seen some of these other celebrities out there that y'all dudes got a 250,000 of you following and watching their content. And man, we watch their interactions, we watch their interpersonal skills, we watch them go around and stuff. And don't get us wrong, we don't want to be judgy. We know our place, okay? We're on the bottom. Everything else you watch is guaranteed to be better. That's our gift to you, the viewer. That gift sucks. Well, does it though? You skim this, it sucks, okay? Sure, we know. No surprise here. You go watch something else and it's like, my day just got better. Obviously. It's like eating a pile of crap, okay? And then eating not a pile of crap, okay? We're the crap. You're welcome. But we have to take into account that while we are the crappiest, we accept our place. Inherently, we get all the accolades that go along with celebrityness, okay? Now we're the worst, okay? We know. We're crossing the street and you're like, hey, that's that one celebrity Shyzabox. Quick, honey, stay on this other side. He's gonna try and say hello. You know who to avoid. It's different than when like, hey, look, there's Joe Rogan. Let's go get a picture with him. Okay, no one wants that. We know that. We know our place. And right now, our place is here to talk about candy. So, candy, right? It comes in all shapes, forms, kinds, iterations, varieties. You've probably had some of it yourself in your life. Maybe not, but you probably have. Even unbeknownst to yourself, you're like, wow, was I eating candy this whole time? Well, yes, you probably were. If you've had a Hershey Kiss, a M&M, a Skittle, a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, guess what? That's candy. And if you've had it, you've had it. So, as you can tell, candy, with it being so diverse in its offerings, in its, potential, in what it presents to the consumer, the eater, the creator. Look at things like Willy Wonka that portray candy in the most whimsical and magicalist of ways. Everything you can see is edible, interactable, and consumable. Mostly, There's components of candy that have always resonated and struck chords with individuals that have consumed and enjoyed it over the centuries. It's always been nice to get a good little sweet treat that you could eat, right? Now, the only thing you want to be careful about, believe you me, is those times when Joey pulls up next to you in that, you know the type of vehicle, unmarked windows. No, not the feds. You know those ones. The other kind. The kind that offers you candy from the side of the road. If it comes from Joey, it's a no. Ain't that right? High five, Bob. Bob took a piece of candy from Joey once. Now, Bob didn't need this part because we had to lop it off. Because when he tried to take that candy from Joey, Joey went, here you go. He grabbed his whole hand. He started trying to pull him in the van. I was like, no, Bob, no. I'm going to save you. So we ran. We were gone. We ran. We're like, Bob, we'll be right back. Hang on, Bob. Hang on. And we came. And we came. And we came back, and we're like, Bob, we're going to save you now. And we lobbed that fucker off at the ankle bone. By the ankle bone, the wrist bone, or wherever. We saved his life. Now, you might be saying, a little bit too extreme, wasn't it? It was Joey. There you go. So anyhow, candy comes in a lot of fashions and varieties. And you might be saying to yourself, well, what's the history of it? What are the facts and the basis of when it originated, when it started to come out and be prevalent, and what are the deals with it, right? Well, in order for us to talk about that, we'd either have to do work, which we weren't paid for, so we're not going to do. Or we'd have to have a big budget like a Joe of the Rogan or Tim of the Pool or a good show, okay? We know our place. We've already stated we're a bad one, okay? Apologies. But there's components, okay, of candy that, regardless of where we sit on anything else, need to be addressed, need to be talked about, need to be talked. Pre-recorded? I don't know what pre-recorded is. Oh, like pre-recorded before we're here. No, we're here. Who is that? EA Sigma. Well, Sigma. Ugly. Who? Us? Bye. See ya, William. Hi. Hello, William. No. We're reading these in backwards order because we get to do whatever we want. Looks like William said, hey, we didn't say what's up, so he kicked rocks. That's fine, William. We get it. We wouldn't have hung out either, but we hope you pulled up another tab, muted this, and hauled ass to work, or to do something more productive, or to watch something else. We don't need you to stick around, William. We just need the view. Whether it's, viewed or not. But just kidding, YouTube, of course it will be. Those fractions of cents will be ours in no time. But no, not pre-recorded. We should be, or, hell, if we were AI, it'd be good. But we know we can't compete with AI's videos. Inherently, AI's content that they've been cranking out far supersedes everyone. So when you look at shows that are no longer gonna be with us, like your Colbert show or whatever he does, you begin to think like, wow, if it's true in what the quartering was saying, and they were losing approximately $40 million a year to operate this show, and then you got folks who minored in philosophy, that's us, Shyzabox, who inherently can do just as bad of a job as he's been doing. Excellent. Hey, Colbert, we got a tie too. Oh, we're equals. Now, you might know more than us. You might be more rich than us, Colbert. You might, have a following. Might be world known. You might be a published author. You might know a lot about Lord of the Rings. But if there's one thing, Colbert, that we haven't done, is lost $40 million on this shit-ass show. So, who's really the worst, right? It's us. But that's beside the point. Let's get back to Candy. Candy started stripping when she was 18 years old. Now, you might be saying that's pretty young. That's not even barely the age of consent. But when she hit that pole, she was like, no, sorry, management's calling. What do you want? We're on time. We're doing the show. Oh, what do you mean we're overlapping? Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. We get mixed up from our OnlyFans, stream all the time. And sorry, we sometimes overlap content. Apologies. Well, good. You did your job, management. About time. Oh, gee. Sorry about that. So apparently, we were talking about content that doesn't matter. Candy, not a stripper, right, is delicious. You can buy it in stores and movie theaters and vending machines. It's been around, and whilst we don't have the historical context, because we don't have the budgets to, do real work around here, we get to talk about candy as far as, the blanketed area and components, like the historical stuff and all the, factual stuff. Leave that for the other places. We'll guide you where those discussions take place. Which for around candy, probably not much of places. Probably go to Wikipedia and get a good enough rundown on its historical creation, on who made the first chocolate bar and who made the first lolly of the pop. Okay? Who cares? They're delicious. Okay? Now, who cares isn't their name. Who cares is how we feel. Who cares is how probably most people feel. Unless you're writing a report on candy and its historical context and soldiers giving it to kids in war zones countless numbers of times to elicit a appreciated response from different areas, whether it's a army or military that's there for reasons that are nefarious and or helpful and beneficial in nature, okay? Soldiers know that the way to the kids, to the populace, to the future generations, obviously, is giving them that little sweet treat, showing them that we're here to help. We're the good guys. Look what we got. A chocolate bar. You want it. 'Cause it's delicious. And of course, they do. And it is. Candy has been utilized in a variety of forms and functions and fashions. And as people develop their taste for them and their appreciations for them, you have people that revolutionize the industry. Someone created a chocolate bar some time ago, and then someone else was like, you know what? I'm going to throw some nuts in some of this one. I'm going to throw some caramel in this one. Here's some nougat and toffee. And before you know it, you have a plethora of different iterations of chocolates out there. Then you have individuals that take it a step further. They're like, well, you made a chocolate bar, but look, if I add more cocoa powder, or if I add less sugar, now I can formulate different forms and iterations and varieties of chocolate. Your semi-sweet morsels, your full sweet morsels, your white chocolate, your dark chocolate, your 70% cacao powder, or 90%, okay? There are so many different iterations and versions centered around solely chocolate that you could write books and upon books of it, or on the internet with Shyzabox, at least make mention of the fact that it's been around for a long time. It has served a purpose as a very appreciated moment of respite from life's daily routine, from the plant and root-based diet that someone might have, or a meat, plant, root diet, whatever your diet may be. That little extra sweet treat, almost like a baked good would be, is an appreciated break. It's a nice treat. It's a nice reward. Now, if you don't like candy, you're allergic to peanut butter, don't eat your Reese's, nothing like that. Obviously, there's going to be variables that are applicable towards anyone they're applicable towards, right? But the point is that we've talked about chocolate for, a minute or two now, covered aspects that aren't rooted in historical fact, only, the fact that these iterations exist. And we have covered out of candy one little flake off of the giant sphere that is the cookie of candy. You might be saying, well, cookie's a baked good, but we can use whatever analogy we want. The point is that you segue from chocolate and you go to gummies. Again, you can go to the historical route. Who made the first gummy? What was the first company that did it best? What was the first iteration that came out and that, made its way into the masses? That was the first notorious one. Was it Twizzler? Was it Red Vine? Was it Hot Tamales or Good and Plenty? You could dive into the history of not only the types of candies, but the companies that produced them, the ones that made their names on the market, the smaller ones that created a product and maybe got picked up and acquired by a bigger corporation that was just going to become a giant. Your Hershey's, right? Your Godivas, your Cadbury's, okay? All of those chocolatiers and those chocolate companies, Linzor, right? The Linzor Lint Truffle. 10 to 15 bucks for a little bag, man. Stuff's good. Those little chocolatier bastards know what they're doing. Oh, at 360 calories for a mere 2 or 3 of them. We don't know how many. Don't quote us as it's not rooted in fact. It's in vague recollection. A disclaimer. Those chocolatier bastards know what they're doing. Trying to trick us into eating a lot of them at once. Because they're delicious, and you could. Again, we're going back to chocolate, but what about the components of that chocolate that had escalated and become, right? What about those ooey gooey chewy centers? No, go back to gummies. Okay, fine. Back to gummies. You have your companies, your Haribos, your, the Black Forest. Okay? That might not be the name of that one company, but who cares? It doesn't matter. Your Great Values make them, okay? Your, Market Pantry or something, or whatever, Sam's or Target, okay? The gummy game has been around for years, and it goes just as strong and hard into the paint as chocolate companies do and have for decades and decades and decades and centuries and generations, right? there's a appreciation for candy and the sweet treat that it provides that has been handed down time after time after time again. There are components now that individuals might not like. Not everyone might like chocolate. Not everyone might like hard candy. Not everyone might like gummies, right? But the iterations exist, and the preferences can be regulated to the point that individuals that have problems with other candies, that don't like the ingredients that they're made with, take it upon themselves to create a new candy company. They'll create a new entity that puts the candy out, that harbors the beliefs and the tastes and the wanton desires that that individual held and had for their candy consumption needs or wants, right? If there's nothing on the market that gives you the option of a gluten-free candy, you might make a gluten-free candy. Our gluten acts up all the time, sure. So, it's good that that's probably on the market. Now, we don't buy it because it's expensive, but maybe not all of them are. That's beside the point. Point is that you can transform candy and have it take the form, the function that you want it to fit your lifestyle if you adapt it to your lifestyle. Okay? Now, you might make a candy that inherently doesn't have all of the wantonness that others might find desirable in it. If you're making a gluten-free candy for yourself and you offer it to everyone else, they might be like, ugh, this tastes like mocklet from Friends. I guess you decide when you want to swallow, right? The point is that if you make your own candy and it sucks, you might like it, other people might not, okay? But the ability to do such, the ability to create, to make your own type of candy still is available. You can get your own pectin and gelatins and make your own gummies. You can get your own cocoa powder and stuff like that and make your own chocolate. People make caramel all the time. Burn the shit out of it too. Or maybe that's just us. Because we don't like sitting there babysitting that shit on the stove. Right? We want our caramel now. And by now it's not done yet, so better go do something else. Whoops, it's burned. Right? No matter what, there's all sorts of forms that people take upon themselves to create the sweetness and the candies that they enjoy and like to consume and have as part of their life and daily routine. So, we've talked a little gummies. We've talked some chocolate. Let's talk hard candies, right? Hard candies have served such a great purpose for grandmothers of generations past, with which they could bribe grandkids or keep people quiet. Like, hey, Granny's got some hard candy in her purse. It's a little stuck together, but it's from Granny, so it's okay. Have a piece. And it shuts them up. You know, they're like, this is good, thanks, Granny. It's like, what? I can't hear you, dear. You're shut up like I wanted you to be. Excellent. Granny knows her business. And her business was having the sweet treats ready at a moment's notice, because they know that sometimes people just need that little uplifting pick-me-up, right? They need that little bit of pep in their step that a little sweet treat might provide. You might be saying, well, that's obviously not going to be the case for everyone. Candy isn't going to put a smile on the face of those who don't have smiles on their faces, right? We all know that type. But what they do have the ability to do is let it. They can let the candy alter their mood. Especially if you look at some of these CBD and Amera of the Wana candies that have been coming out, right? All of these edibles that have been hitting the market, they are definitely candies. They are definitely applicable under the candy name. However, they come with an additional little perk and incentive for their consumption and acquisition. Now, this isn't going to be for everyone, but we are going to draw a comparison to where it really shouldn't fucking matter what anyone's preference or lifestyle is. So, You got weed candy, right? You got CBD candies. You got Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta my Delta. Oh, Delta my Delta. We should stand on the desk and rip out the introduction to what the fuck people consider acceptable for one else's consumption and desired intake, right? For years and years and decades and decades and decades, there have been liqueurs injected into things like chocolates, okay? You've had chocolate-filled liqueurs. You've had, beer battered this, beer battered that. You've had components of stuff glazed with wine in a dish, whether it's, flambéed and the alcohol burns out or not, okay? They're components of altering food to create a mind-altering or a different type of experience upon consumption. So, when you look at the historical context, and we don't have the exact dates or the company that did it first because we don't have the Joe of the Rogan or the Tim of the Pool fact checker budget, right? You have companies, though, that cranked out, "Hey, Josh, good to see you. Have no fear, you are here." Well, Josh, we didn't fear at all. We knew you would be. And believe you me, after that kerfluffle that you had, making us think that the big JC recommended that last episode or the one before that one, we don't remember which, it was really your fault, Josh. Yeah, you should have told us to read the entire username before reading the comment. But, we can't do things in order. William left before we even said hey. He even took the time to say goodbye. We didn't know. We weren't ready to read shit then. But, doesn't matter. We're talking candy today. And since you interrupted the show, looks like we're not anymore. So, who cares? Excellent. Josh, perfect. Genetically modified food scares me. Excellent. Well, it should, but that's the thing, Josh. The episode's about candy. You might not have seen the thumbnail. Hey, we get it. You're like, oh shit, he's on. Let me get on there. Let me, interact with Shyzabox. I need my daily celebrity, right? It's like, of course you do. There you go, Josh. You can touch us through the internet. Okay, that's enough, Josh. But the point is that, yes, foods with all those injected modifications, stuff like that, yeah, we're not too hip on that either, Josh. But that's a good thing. It looks like there are some companies that are promising to revert back to a more natural state, like adding sugars instead of not natural flavored sweeteners, to sodas. If Coca-Cola and, from what we hear, Pepsi-Cola preemptively or presumably might be entertaining the idea of reverting and switching back to natural sugar, there's probably some goodness there, right? Now, we don't know. We're not dietitianary nutritionists, you know that. But, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, no one likes all of that other stuff in there. And we get it with candies. There are a lot of that. To get those big, flashy colors in it, you need to have those dyes injected, for that eye appeal. But, Josh, you're right. Things should be able to stand on their own accord. They should be able to enjoy a piece of candy without it having to visually look like an atomic, nuclear, kind of derived, experiment created the things that you're about to consume. Very not appealing. And you're actually right on the money with that one, Josh. We haven't talked about the injected artificial ingredients and the, genetically modified stuff, but looks like you're going above and beyond, Josh, as always. Doing our work for us, and that's fantastic. That's at least 2-3 more minutes of content. Excellent job. Honey is the safest thing to sweeten things with. Well, I think you're probably entirely right on that as well. Not only is honey insanely awesome with all of its stuff, but the fact that regionally, if you get a honey from a certain area, you generally can elicit quite a few beneficial factors. Now, presumably, we don't got fact checkers and we don't want to lead you astray, but you can elicit quite a few beneficial presumed factors from consuming honey locally sourced in a region or area that, you might be from or reside in. There's so many components to aspect that are insane, but Josh, there's one thing that we just found out about in the last probably week or two, and unless it was total BS, which it could have been, the internet's a crazy place, Josh, you know that. It's why we find refuge here to set us up for everything else that we watch in the day being better, okay? We gotta start at the Daryl Dixon Dibs ground floor level. That's here. Crap, okay? Dibs, the best of the worst celebrity, we call it. We don't have to improve. We don't have to do better. Everything else is inherently better, but we're a celebrity. You know, it's a trade-off. Not a good one. We know. You know. But we get those fractions of cents from the ad revenue eventually when we get on YouTube's payroll. Okay, when we trick enough people, when we get enough subscribed people to get us to that point, right? But we're lacking those view hours, so keep on it, everyone, you know. Start a video, one of the longer ones, mute it and go to work. We need the views. Excellent. So, Josh, where are we going to that? Honey, excellent, yes. Well, we weren't calling you Honey. We call you J-Money, right? Anyhow, we can call you J-Money, right? Okay, so anyhow, Josh, we just found out in the last couple weeks, there's this thing called black honey, right? Now, it only is locally sourced in, I think, one area, and I think they only collect it like once a year. But it was the most interesting and fascinating thing that we had seen in the honey market in the last 6 months. Because, believe it or not, Josh, we like the honey market. We're not a part of it. We don't follow it regularly, but we like honey. And we understand its beneficial factors and uses and everything like that. The sweetness component and aspect has been used for decades and decades and virtually centuries, okay? There's a little thing called, and you probably know this, Josh, it's a historical thing. Apologies. This is the part of the show where we venture out of our philosophical minor and rely heavily on our history major. Okay, again, another huge component of our life choices that was the best decision we could have ever made going to college to get both of those things. So as we fall back on our history major from college, there's a little thing that was made from honey called mead. M-E-A-D. There might be an E on the end, there might not be. I don't know. It depends on how well we did in that class when we learned about it. The point is, Josh, is that mead, obviously, was an alcoholic beverage usually used by, more of like the kind of Viking-esque kind of era and stuff like that, right? So you would have this sweetened mead beverage, right? And like even medieval times, stuff like that, very renowned, very notorious. You'll hear it referenced in shows, movies, things of that nature. Like, give me another cup of mead, something like that, right? But yeah, no, it was sweetened with honey, made from honey, derived from honey, and at least a version or iteration variety of it was. Like I said, we don't got the fact checkers here, so the last thing we need is like, well, they were way wrong, because turns out that's just one version, and there's another one that was made from, I don't know, something else. But, mead, originally sourced, derived, created from honey. So that's fantastic, Josh. Excellent point. Apologies. We, the components of mead being made, created from honey centuries ago is fascinating stuff. We learned about black honey. That was super fascinating, especially that it's only collected like once a year because it's very regionally specific. We did remember where it came from, but we forget now. But it was super interesting and awesome. So, honey in general, as a sweetener, yeah, obviously a natural component, most likely far outweighs in the benefits of sweetenings than almost anything else. Even if you look at natural cane sugar and whatnot, that you kind of process and break down, which it arguably, even though you don't, you process and break down the honey, get the bees out of it, the little parts of the comb that might have collected, okay, whatever. Yes, you don't necessarily do anything with the product besides like filter, necessarily refine it. But there's components in other, fields and realms that do pertain to it a little more and stuff. But super awesome, yes. Honey is safest thing to sweeten things with. Absolutely, yep. Won't hear an argument from us here because we have no argument on that to make. Sweeten your tea with honey. Big sweet tea guy. Excellent. Yeah, so excellent, thing. If you drink tea, whether sweet, unsweet, hot, cold, iced, or hot, we already said that, Josh. Keep up. We don't have to keep going back to remind you, right? No matter how you enjoy it, yeah, you sweeten it with honey and you're good to go. Okay? You find yourself low on, sugar as a substitute for something you need sugar for, which if it's a substitute for it, then it wouldn't be a substitute for itself. You'd have to substitute honey or something, right? Or agave. Josh, do you know about agave? How close to that is to honey? We know it's kind of close, but we don't know, Josh. We're just asking you. But agave, right, is inherently derived from honey that we understand or possibly fathom or conject. As conjecture, we don't know. But agave would fall in that same realm. Not quite as good as honey, obviously, because there's some kind of process that takes place to derive it, or we could be entirely wrong. Maybe it's from a certain fruit or type or something, and we're just way off the marker. But interesting stuff, as it's another sweetener that we're aware of that can be used to, sweeten stuff. But let's check up on these other ones of chat. Large and made of sweet tea. Well, we love large sweet teas. Josh, we'll drink you right up. Oh, weirdo. We love sweet tea, too. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because it's delicious. Anyone who doesn't like it has never traveled across the South and had it properly. Or they had it properly, but they had their first injection of it, and they're still comatose, and no one's ever heard from them again. But that could happen anywhere in the South, right? Looking at you, Alabama. Just kidding, Alabama. Anyhow, black honey is something I'm going to have to check out. Well, you absolutely should. We found it very fascinating, and I think we just saw a little kind of story on it. It was probably just a couple little minute video. But it was fascinating. Yeah, it's like a, kind of more rural mountainous harvesting in one area. We want to say over in, don't quote us, Josh, but we want to say kind of around, the Asia landmass and stuff like that. Okay, now, we're not positive, we're not certain, but that's what we want to say. We could be entirely wrong, but yeah, from what we remember and recollect, and this is in the last couple weeks, it's harvested once a year because, there's kind of only one place you can get it from, so they make sure that the bees make enough of it, so it's worth harvesting. If you were to go back any more than that, you'd be kind of, shooting yourself in the foot almost. But, yeah, no, definitely fascinating stuff, Josh. You should check it out and get back to us. Hey, Josh! We listen to Electric Six. You might be saying, what's that have to do with candy, everyone else? But who cares? Me and Josh are kind of having a moment here. The rest of you can wait. Because it's our show and we get to do whatever we want. Hold on, management's calling. What do you want? We're on a roll. What do you mean we're supposed to be talking about candy all the time? Who cares? Josh is here. Well, I don't care if you don't know who Josh is. We do. Fuck off. Josh, management thinks that they want us to keep centered and focused on candy. You're like, you told us you're doing an episode on candy. Yeah, that's what we, try and promote, and then you go changing it on a dime, and we can't keep up. Well, management, do your jobs, right? So anyhow, Josh, agave's from a cactus. Well, excellent, Josh. Good to sweeten with also. Well, fantastic. You see, everybody, Josh has enlightened us as to where the hell agave comes from. And you know what, Josh? In hindsight, after you recollected our memory with that, we want to say we knew that at some point in time, but we'll be damned, Josh. We got so much other important college stuff that we paid to learn in our mind that we can't remember everything. Okay? And without the Joe Rogan or Tim Pool fact checkers, it's awesome to be able to reach out to those that do know, such as yourself, Josh, and provide that context and where it's actually derived from, with which we get to enjoy it in our daily lives and routines. So fantastic. Yes, agave, it has been said, is from a cactus. Now, again, disclaimer, we don't got a fact checker here, so, no offense, Josh, but you could be entirely wrong, and we gotta issue a disclaimer. For entertainment, we don't have a big budget like Joe Rogan, Tim Pool. But we know you're right, Josh. Fuck it, that shit's from a cactus. Anyone else who wants to say it's not, they're thinking of something else. And if it is not from a cactus, Josh, you know what? I'll be damned. I'm gonna go buy a fucking cactus. I'm gonna pulp that shit down, make something, and call it agave. And we're fucking right, Josh. Hell to the yeah. Excellent. Perfect. Carter! You're back. You left your trophy here from last night. Yep, we kicked ass. Carter, good to see you. We knew that there were more comments coming in, but, we were on a roll. We were talking with Josh. Josh is our honey guy. He's our honey pot. Don't worry about what me and Josh refer to our relationship as. We both enjoy sweet tea. And that makes us, in essence, pretty much distant cousins. So, obviously, that's probably true. Everyone's cousins, probably. World's crazy, especially in small towns and local communities. Anyhow, that was weird. Let's see what else we're missing. Never heard of it. What haven't you heard of? Electric Six? Didn't you tell us to listen to Electric Six? Or are we talking about something else that you're not talking about? I don't know. We listen to Electric Six, though, and it's a band. They got a lot of content. We didn't hear it all, but we heard a good bit. And we'll be honest, the first song we heard, we're like, nah, I don't think we're going to like this. But as we started listening to more and more and hearing the different lineups and stuff, there's some very good stuff there. And we'll have a great time going through that content. So, yeah, we'll crank out something about that sometime later. Anyhow, where are we at? Let's get back. Punk, it's me, Carter. I know it's you, Carter. I've already said it. Jeez. Carter, it takes us a while to read. Okay? Sometimes we get on tangents, we get on rolls, and we think to ourselves like selves, let's pad this shit out and make it a little longer to get those view hours that YouTube says that we need before they'll give us fractions of cents to be celebrities, right? We are waiting on that day to get fractions of cents for being the celebrities that we are. But we know you're there, Carter. We just had to finish our talk with Josh because he was setting us straight on agave. Do you know it comes from a cactus? We did, and we forgot. But Josh reminded us because we had completely forgot. But yeah, fantastic how that works. Anyhow, should we talk about Candy? That's right, that stripper is gorgeous. When she hit the pole at 18 years old, we thought to ourselves, where's your parental guidance? You shouldn't be working here, you're too young. Oh, hold on, jeez. What do you want? Oh, we did it again. Sorry. Ah, man, we do so many OnlyFans streams, we just get the channels mixed up sometimes. Sorry about that. If you paid us more, we wouldn't have to supplement our income. Well, we don't make anything on that channel either. Don't worry about it. That's our business. That's our off time. So, yeah, we're doing the show. Fucking management. Apparently, we were talking about something that isn't real. Don't worry about it. And apparently, the channel doesn't like us talking about our OnlyFans content, right? You might be saying, ooh, where's that? So I can avoid it. No. I don't know. Anyhow, let's see what else we're missing. A llama from Peru is good. What, to eat? Playing Final Fantasy 14. Your favorite YouTuber? Ah! Send us that link, Josh. We want to watch it too. Excellent. Final Fantasy 14. When we think to ourselves, video games, Final Fantasy 14, we stop thinking about Final Fantasy 14 and start thinking about candy. Right now, you might be saying, whoa, drink some sweet tea and fucking control yourself. Stop putting all that shit in your body, right? Okay, hold on. Whoa. Slow down. Let's have a sip. And let's build a bridge. How are you going to do that? I don't know. Let's see. All right, you got candy, right? And it's delicious. Everyone knows that. Then you got elements and components and aspects of the market itself that drive and create the want and desire for individuals to hone in and have it, okay? Now, what happens when you take things like a game, like Final Fantasy, okay, or in this case, not necessarily Final Fantasy, and you start thinking about how candy has affected video games, okay? You might be saying, well, I think that I recollect and I'm starting to get some flags that are starting to shoot up in my head like, oh, I think you're onto something here. There might be a little point. You might bridge that gap between whatever the hell you're talking about with candy and video games, right? There are components and iterations of video games that offer candy and candies as a means of gameplay, as a form of add 15 extra hit points back to your life if you eat a chocolate bar. It's a power-up. It makes you get this ability, that ability, whatever. There are candies that are called, candy and Pokemon, right? That you can give that level up or evolve a Pokemon, right? Is that correct, or we're wrong and it's a different thing that levels them up? Whatever. But there are candy in Pokemon. Now, whether it's a candy that you eat or a candy that's just a nameplate or a namesake placeholder for a different idea of what that would be. Okay, obviously, candy can be a stripper, candy can be the name of a band. Point is that you have candy and you have video games, and they equate the goodness, the delicious wantonness, the sweet tooth desire that individuals have an appreciation for, with which, in the video games, it makes your character generally better. It helps improve them. It makes them do better, perform better, be better, right? You might be saying, well, whoa, are there a lot of artificial sweeteners in those video game candies? Are there a lot of injected, pre-manufactured, bioengineered ingredients in those candies? Well, the game developers, they don't put the ingredients on the packaging. Because it's all fake. It's a video game. Why would they take the time to do that unless it was like an interactable thing that you had to flip over and read stuff? In which case it would probably be fake ingredients. Doesn't matter. Point is that inherently candy is equated with better. With being better, feeling better, doing better, right? And it's been in video games for years and years. Lots of takes, lots of components, lots of elements. Okay? You have elements of candy that have been in sitcoms, movies, in the funniest of means. Look at the old skit with Stewart from Mad TV, where his mom, or it might have been Saturday Night Live. Shit, I feel bad. Might be Saturday Night Live, doesn't matter. The one where the kid's given the candy bar to pull the car home. When it breaks down, the mom attaches the harness to the car, gives him half a can of Coke and a Snickers bar. Kid chomps it down. He's so fucking hyper, he pulls the entire car home, right? It's hilarious, and it utilizes the components and aspects of candy giving you that boost, that jolt, that different way of doing, being, feeling, acting, right? Let's see what we're missing. Dark chocolate's candy, not bad for you. Yep, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Good point to point out. Dark chocolate, if you get those 90% cacao bars, those inherently harbor a lot more betterness for you than those that don't. Now, there is a trade-off. You're going to sacrifice the flavor unless you are an inherent fan of the bitterness that, especially those darker chocolate bars, the 90%, way more bitter than the 70%, okay? You can graduate yourself to get there, but, you start at 90%, and you're not used to it, and you're coming from milk chocolate, you're going to think that you just ate mocklet from Friends. It's that fake chocolate Monica had to make or something. No, we saw that episode. Anyhow, grapes and blueberries, very high in sugar. Yes, and blueberries with the antioxidants, correct? Now, we don't want to state that as a fact and not know it, but we're pretty sure that might be a fact. Ooh, look at that word might in there. Sounds like a legal disclaimer. Excellent. We gotta swig our coffee. This shit's pretty cold. Oh, jeez. Anyhow, where were we? No, we were at the end. We read all those. Okay, excellent. So, we've talked candy. We've talked video games. Not really, but, candy's in video games, and it, perks you up or, heals your character. So, we would have to ask, why would candy want to become a stripper at 18 years old. It doesn't make sense. Either there's complete lack of parental oversight, or she fell on harder times than she should have and was forced into being in a precarious situation that elicited a response of hers that drove her to do what she found to be the easiest thing with which to maintain a form of living. And we think to ourselves, what? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. Sorry. Fuck. Sometimes management does keep us on track. Apparently, we did it again. But, yeah, it's not something that we do often, so don't worry about it. Probably just this episode. The point is that no matter what type of candy you're looking at, how you want to enjoy it, how you want to consume it, how you want to partake in its being, okay, there are components that range across a wide array of types, iterations, varieties, flavors, kinds, tastes, which is kind of flavors, and the desire for people to want it. You could make a candy, okay, you could make broccoli chocolate. You could think it's the best thing on earth. You could create an entire company around it. Have your friends, family, loved ones lie to you and say, yeah, it's the best thing I've ever had. You should probably invest all of our money and yours in starting a company to try and peddle it to everyone else. Right? Before you know it, you got hand-dipped broccoli crowns in chocolate that they're trying to sell people. People like us see it and go, is it free? They're like, no. Chocolate's pretty expensive, and broccoli can be. So, we're going to need $12 for you to eat this shit. Well, believe you me, if there's something we're not going to pay, it's $12 to eat no fucking broccoli chocolate, right? The point is that all of a sudden, all of those invested funds that they borrowed from their friends, family, loved ones that told them, yeah, great idea, let's start a broccoli chocolate company, falls by the wayside because there's no wanted desire from the public to partake in it. Okay? On the other hand, you have your Lindt, your Godiva, your whatever types of chocolates out there. Cadbury's been around for years. Milka. Okay? There are Russell Stovers, Hershey's, and plethora. You have these companies that have been around for years that have done it, maintained a form and level of consistency, and people have inherently appreciated everything that they brought to the market to continually support them. You can have new companies spring up that bring a new product to the market. Look at that Poppy soda, okay? Poppy soda, soda, not soda, whatever you want to call it, we really like, okay? It's made different. It's made more natural, whatever. Okay, the problem is that we don't buy it. By we, our mom won't when she goes to the store. She gets off her second job. She's like, honey, I really need you to go to the store during the day. No, Mom. We got work to not do. You're going to have to work it into your day off. Point is that she walks by the aisle and sees that the Poppy soda is $2.50 for one 12-ounce can. Get the fuck out of here. No, Poppy, you go fuck yourself. We ain't paying no $2.50 for a fucking can of soda. Okay? A, that sounds expensive to us. And we could be coming from the old school where we're used to putting 50 cents in a machine to get a 12-ounce can of Coke. The Poppy soda is inherently, you get what you pay for, and yes, it's going to be made and created and be inherently better, Josh. And we really liked it. We do like it. We love the soda. When we say F you, Poppy, it's not because F you. It's you got to find a way to get those prices down to compete in the marketplace. Okay, you are far more expensive than even the iterations of brands, and we get it. You pay for what you get. It's almost like having a organic soda on the market instead of inorganic soda. That's cheaper. The mice are running all over, and they put on sale because it's fucking molding, right? Poppy is a premium gourmet drink, a premium gourmet beverage. But for a 12-ounce can to inherently be more expensive than an IBC root beer or cream soda, presumably, depending on where you live regionally, how you function, the and break down the price, okay? There's all sorts of variables that can take issue with it, okay? IBC is a premium soda. Okay, whether you think it is or not. Okay, it comes in glass bottles. It comes in 4-packs. It's more expensive. You get less of it for a bigger price. But, same thing with Jones Soda Company, a lot of these other natural companies that have inherently made a product that there's a desire for. Alright, but there's companies that create stuff and, aren't competing in the marketplace how they should or how we feel they should. Like we said, we love the product. We love the poppy soda. Hell, we'd drink the hell out of it if we had it. We would drink it over virtually any other soda for, as you stated, Josh, those inherent, from what we understand, benefits to having something like that over something else. Now, that being the case, what we're not going to do is chop off our arm like Bob. High five, Bob. To be able to afford the shit. Knock her out now, Bob. Jeez. So, if there's one thing that we're definitely not in the wheelhouse to do, and we've gotten it before when it's on sale, when it first came out, but the price just kept going up. The price just increased more and more as it became more prevalent, more popular, more around. That stuff's expensive. It's good, but it's expensive. And, when you're already going without any soda at all, or if anything, 1 2-liter bottle on a shopping experience, and you end up dropping $200, and you have nothing to show for it, you're like, damn, I'm not going to spend $212 so I can get a 6-pack of Poppy at $2.50 a can. The deal at some of our local grocers, like 2 for $5. You know what we can spend $5 on? One of those meals at McDonald's. It comes with a sandwich and nuggies and fries and a drink. That's 4 things. Versus 2 little things. Now you might be saying, well, you're poisoning yourself with the other, and we're not saying that you poison yourself if you go there. Don't put words in our mouth. That's our job. We're saying that we would like to take that $5 and instead of obtaining 2 beverages that, yes, might be a little better for us in consumption and benefits, okay? We would rather take that $5 and feel like we get more for our money and it stretches further by getting an entire meal out of it, okay? Versus a component of a meal in a beverage. Now, like we said, the beverage is good. You ever get a chance to try it? You want to try it, you're interested in it, you drop that $2.50 on a can and you try it. It might be worth it to you to adjust your budget. To be like, I guess I won't eat this week and I'll get these poppy sodas instead. Or maybe you're rich. You're like, I buy all the Lindt truffle flavors, even the ones that aren't on sale. We only get the ones on sale. Whenever we get Lindt, it's the bags on sale. The kinds that don't move. Neapolitan Lindt truffles aren't selling. Better put them on clearance. Get them the fuck out of here. Here we are. Oh, Lindt truffles. Oh, that's gourmet. This flavor sucks. Oh, no, it doesn't. Not anymore. We have it. It's good. It's better than our other stuff, right? The products exist. They're good. But you have to then get into the pricing of how much you're paying for what you're paying for. Now, we've been focusing on soda, and we can bring it back full circle to candy. But when you think about it, candy and soda have a lot in common, okay? Their ability to be equated with, health and the lack of, or the benefits that they either provide or detract in their being benefits or non-benefits from their consumption of. But that's for dietitianary nutritionists, fields and wheelhouses to have those conversations, right? For us, the conversation just kind of takes place around, them being in existence, us having the options. And it's not that they are so similar in nature that one's, edible or something you consume and chew and eat or suck on or whatever, and one you swallow and it's a liquid. Soda has been in the realm of candy as far as, a lot of components, even though they are separate entities entirely. Different markets, different products, everything about it, right? But What about those liquid candies that are out there, right? At what point can soda arguably be a candy? Okay? If a liquid candy, one of those liquid goo, something like that, is in a technically liquid, though gelatinous state, arguably, if you add some Pop Rocks to it, make it fizzy, is that a soda? I mean, there's some fine lines you could cross, and you could probably get there arguing it. Why you would, we don't know. We're just making, mention of the fact you could, and that there could be a correlation between the two industries, things of that nature. But that's beside the point. Who cares? We were able to fill another couple minutes of content with that. Bam! We've hit over an hour. Perfecto! 60 minutes that you can click on it, mute it, and go do something else. We get a whole hour view, and you don't even got to watch it for us to get it. Shh, just kidding, YouTube. Of course everyone's watching these. It's the best, worst content there is, right? But we know that's our place, and we know that's what we provide. That way, you're welcome. All right, let's shift this out. What's the other one some more? Heard it was good for you. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You had never tried it. Keep wanting to. Yeah, well, maybe, Josh, you save up that $250 over the course of a couple weeks to where you're not kicking yourself in the foot for doing it, because you're really going to hate it if you pick a shitty flavor, Josh. You drop $250 on one can, and you're like, man, I went with, blackberry agave cactus foot. Okay, now we're not saying that's one of Poppy's flavors, but, whatever it may be, if you don't like it and you drop the loot, you're like, well, shit, I guess I'll choke this down, or I'll try and bring it back to the store. This one was dented. You bash the can. I need to return it. Sir, I don't think that's the case. Where's the rest of the soda? Don't worry about it. Are you going to be a professional and take my return or not? No, sir. I'm going to call the cops. I think we already trespassed you last year. Oh, shit. I'm out of here. And then you run, right? Then that's a looting, and apparently that's illegal. Anyhow, that's a different story and probably show altogether. What isn't is that there's another comment we have to read. That's the problem with eating healthy. You have to pay more. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, which is unfortunate because you would think that the non-modified foods, the ones with less ingredients, the ones that don't take all of the extra steps to manufacture, combine, throw together, would, I don't know, cost less. Why the heck should something that has all of these additional additives, bioengineered ingredients, things of that nature, weight, shape, and form, cost more than something with 4 things in it? Well, it's because they want you to pay to play, right? The game of life. The game of spending money. Okay? The game of some of these companies might inherently know we got a monopoly on this. We've created something good with limited ingredients that inherently is worthwhile. It cost us a little money to outsource it, to produce it, to come up with the, packaging cost, the marketing cost, get our business off the ground, start getting it out there on store shelves. There's a lot of components and aspects that need to line up perfectly for any company to weasel and make its way into the marketplace. Any aspect of, a business, right? You got a new restaurant that opens up, you got one chance to, prove that you have a right to be a restaurant in an area. Or maybe someone works at a restaurant that you hire in an area that a lot of people don't like. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, that new restaurant that opened up? Oh yeah, I haven't tried it yet. You want to go eat there? No, Joey works there. Ah! Joey works there, don't go! If it's Joey, no-y. High five, Bob. Keeping humanity safe. The point is that we got another commentary. Poppy don't taste like sparkling water, does it? I don't like any of those. Nope, doesn't taste like sparkling water, so those all suck. We hate them too. We don't like LaCroix. A lot of people do. We can't drink seltzer water and put a smile on our face. What it does is puts a frown and a disgust in our mouth. Now, we're not saying that they haven't infused these flavors into these, sparkling beverages and mineral waters and things perfectly, okay? If you love seltzer water, you love that little bit of flavor infusion, you knock yourself out. LaCroix, all the flavors, iterations, varieties, the whatever there, it's good. Go for it. Inherently, yeah, Josh, we loves that sweet tea. We don't like it, but no. Poppy is more soda-esque, although, let's see, what's a good comparison, Josh? Because we've had probably no shit, probably, 6 to 8 flavors of different Poppy sodas over, the course of since the company rolled around. Now, we haven't had it in a very long time, but there's something we do, Josh, every time we're walking down the aisle. We shouldn't be at the grocery store. We look at it and be like, man, if this were cheaper, we would buy it. We would. Hands down. If Poppy dropped their price $1 or so, we would be all over that shit, Josh. It's like soda, but it's not. It's almost like more of a, like a really tricked out flavored water with sweetness versus a flavored seltzer with that super fizzy rasp. We don't want to say bitterness, but what the just seltzer provides on its own, okay? Whether you infuse a flavor in it, it's still seltzer. That's LaCroix, kind of, right? Poppy approaches it from the other aspect and angle. They have the sweetness element that makes it way closer to a soda than a seltzer, okay? Now, the ingredients might correlate, be the same in one way, shape, or form, fashion, function. There might be a couple flavors of Poppy we have not had, Josh, that inherently could be like lemon lime flavor and might taste closer to an infusion, okay? We don't remember if we've had a lemon lime. We don't recall it. We don't know if they make one. Beside the point, Josh, the flavors we've tried, we have liked every single one, and we would try the other flavors, but we're not going to pay an arm. In this case, Bob's arm, right, Bob? High five, Bob. We ain't buying Poppy till it goes cheaper. Or a leg to acquire it. It's good. It's a great product, but unless it's on sale, unless they drop the price, we'll talk about it. We love it. We'll point people in its direction. Rich people. Maybe one day when our celebrity really takes off and we're getting all of those fractions of cents from the ad revenue, we'll buy a can. We'll do a fucking Poppy stream. It'll be what no one wanted, what no one cares about or needed to watch. But we'll do it. You know why, Josh? Because when we're getting fractions of cents and we save them up for weeks on end, we'd be able to afford to do something like that. It'd be fantastic. Well, for us, because we'd be consuming delicious Poppy soda, not soda. But it'd probably be good for everyone else because they can see us doing it and having a good time. Or a bad time. I mean, we'd be having the soda and probably having a good time. They'd have the bad time, but that bad time would lead to anything else they watch being better. So, they're welcome. Society's welcome. Our job is done. All right, what are we missing? I like what some countries are doing, like Russia, banning food companies for, yeah, absolutely. Yes. Strong arm them. Now, don't get us wrong. We don't want overreach. We don't want overstepping. And by golly, we don't want the government in any of our business. Too much already, right? But what they do need to do is have practical application purposes for, I don't know, say, taxpayer-funded fucking government agencies like the Food and Drug Administration or anything like that to get off their keisters and do something that helps instead of hinders and inhibits society, the nation, America, right? You look at all the shit that European companies have banned that, as you state, we don't know, no fact checkers here, take Josh's word for it. We had to read the whole username. Make sure, Josh, you know what happened last time you told us not to read the username. Jeez. No matter, what aspect component of it and stuff, the fact that Europe has banned so many things from being put in additive-wise, the fact that Russia can strong-arm companies and be like, hey, this shit needs to stop. At least there's talk, at least America seems to be going on the direction to kind of keep up and catch up with that lifestyle, food, consumption, right? And that's a good thing, okay? From what we feel, not a political channel, but we can touch philosophy. From what we feel, the direction that these agencies are going with people like Kennedy there, Robert, doing his thing, it seems like he does genuinely have the best interest of American people at heart. And that expands out to any component or aspect of Europe, of other countries that happen to do business with companies in America that make things like candy, sodas, things of that nature, that inherently get their product banned to where they're making two different versions of products, which is ridiculous. Why a soda would taste different in North America, United States versus North America, Central America, whatever, I don't know, one of those, Mexico, because they use real sugar in theirs and America puts a bunch of crap in theirs. That shouldn't be the case. The company should be the company that makes the company's product. Don't try and force a bunch of bullshit on a populace when other countries are saying, no, this can't be in there. You're like, well, America didn't tell us it can't be in there. Hey, what else you want to throw in this fucking vat? What do we got around here? Some maracas, some compasses, old lighters. Ooh, that has butane. Careful, don't eat too much of that. Some silicone rubber. Excellent. And for good measure, some Fromunda cheese. Okay? Where'd that come from? A Fromunda. Okay? They throw all this shit in their product. They, put it out there and they're like, hey, eat this shit. And when Europe says, no, you can't have the silicone. Scrape that from under cheese, from under there, out of the product. Get rid of those Moroccan sea salts that... Well, we're not saying Moroccan sea salt's bad for you. That could be an actual product. We're just making up something like a maraca. Okay? Pretty cool of us. Yes, it was. Get the plasticky out. Get the... butane can't be in there. Turns out people shouldn't eat that or consume it. And then Europe's left with, their product. Ooh, clear. You can see through it. Is that vodka or Everclear? I don't know. Maybe neither. Maybe both. Point is that, America, you're behind the times with that. Like, hey, here's your drink. Let's add some butane. Ooh, delicious. Here's some other poison stuff that falls down, right? I mean, whatever. We're not saying all companies are out to poison the populace, but, I mean, there's a difference when you look at some of these other startup companies that have been producing products that, need to charge that greater price for, and you look at those ingredients and it's like, there's less of them, they're less processed, less manufactured. Why, inherently, does a product with a mere fraction of the ingredients cost more than a product that has all this other processed stuff that must come from not only a variety of entities and places and ways of being processed and produced, but then logistically transported and facilitated and created in whatever the final destination for it all to come together to be put into a product for your consumption, to come out. It's crazy. But anyhow, let's see if we missed anything else. I like what some countries are doing. Oh, we already read that one. Well, look at us catching up. We strip all the nutrients out of our foods and replace it with fillers. Well, not only that, Josh, but something that we tend to wholeheartedly agree and recognize is that, and I think we've stated this in, some streams before, this and that, I think that we have, inherently talked about it a couple of times, but there are components and elements and aspects of, how society has gone around and really taken fruits, vegetables, things of that nature, and instead of getting it on store shelves or moving it to where it needs to go, companies sit on it. It sits in a warehouse for weeks and goes bad, or stays barely in, consumable standards and conditions. I mean, we got first world countries that, the food in the supermarket's moldy. We went to go. We were getting cherry tomatoes. Very easy. We grow our own. We went through what we had, and our one plant needs a little love and attention, okay? Needless to say, we're getting cherry tomatoes to supplement what we try and do on our own. We spend 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes we could have been not spending doing this, looking at containers of fucking cherry tomatoes to find one that was acceptable, that 70% of it we could use or would want to consume. But no, they're blistering, they're peeling, and lo and behold, these motherfuckers are molding. Well, 2 for $5. Get them while the getting's good, right? They're on sale. Oh, aren't we lucky? Well, look at us living in this first world economy with our produce from wall to wall. Thing is, that produce has been wall to wall in a fucking warehouse for months. They take fruit, like strawberries, blueberries, and they freeze them, and that sucks out the hell out of the flavor. You ever see Ramsay on those cooking shows where he goes and eats something, he's like, this shit's from a can. This shit was frozen. This shit sucks ass, right? It's because it does. It is because companies utilize techniques and tactics to try and wait for the bigger price, wait for the bigger payoff. There's too much in the market. Something else affected it. Then when it does hit shelves, or they're trying to move the product that's already been out there, that probably needs to be pulled and just get some shit out there that's good. Now, we're not saying all companies do it. We're not saying even a specific company does it, because that would be slander, or we'd be liable, or there would be liable. I don't know. Legal terms that we don't want to be entangled with, okay? There are elements and components and aspects, though, of the fruit and food and produce industry that inherently, if you don't know where it's sourced from, if you're not getting it locally, if you don't know exactly where it originated from, you got no idea how long that fruit or produce has been off the vine, off the plant, off the tree, right? Or having had been picked. If it's frozen and unfrozen, guess what? Those red, juicy strawberries are going to taste like ass. What's that taste like? I don't know, ask Joey. But if it's from Joey, it's a no-y, so you probably don't even want to talk to him. But that's beside the point. It's crazy, the stuff out there, the components, the elements, everything that you can talk about it. We start off with candy, we finish with, comparing the potential of something like soda or even a gelatinous candy, crossing the realm and becoming the other. There's components of candy that we've considered, from baking it to cooking with it to innovating the companies that create it, changing the ingredients on it, sweetening things with things like honey, down to agave, which comes from a cactus, right, Josh? We've covered a variety of components and aspects of candy, of this, that, and the other, of even candy being in video games to boost your health. But what it comes down to is, no matter how you enjoy it, no matter if you like it or don't like it, if there's aspects and components that you do care for versus don't, maybe you love gummies and hate chocolate. Maybe you hate chocolate and love gummies. You might be saying that's the same thing. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is that if someone does love gummies and hate chocolate, they probably really love gummies and hate chocolate. You could say it twice and it'd still be true, right? But for those that do love chocolate and hate gummies, you're allowed to do that. The products are out there. It's fantastic. We strip all the nutrients, yes, and I saw something where they squeezed enough pesticides out of a strawberry to use on another plant. Holy shit! Josh, now we can't say that that's inherently true, but Josh, we're not going to say that that's not inherently potentially true. I mean, hell, at this point, we believe it. Even if it's false, we kind of believe it, right? That's how bad and corrupt the system has become pertaining to food and, consumption. for entities and companies to merely be entertaining the idea because one other company is entertaining the idea of reverting back to sugar as a sweetener versus all this other shit they throw in it. What the fuck are they sitting on the ball for? Make a decision. Have some gumption. Make the change. If these companies are like, well, we're thinking about doing it. Well, we're thinking about doing a lot of things. Maybe buying your fucking product. But then we walk by and see how expensive it is, and it's like, well, not this week. It looks like we still gotta eat. But the point is that eventually, when those algorithms catch up with themselves, when we get enough subscribers, okay, when we start getting those fractions of cents from YouTube as the ad revenue, okay, because this will never be behind a paywall, ever, right? As we get those fractions of cents and save them up after, 3 to 6 months, because let's be honest, that ad revenue, fractions of cents, isn't really going to probably pay the bills, but what it may do for us is give us the opportunity to get a poppy soda. And at fractions of cents, at a cost of $2.50 plus tax in Delaware, we're thinking that we probably need $3 worth of ad revenue, and if we hit all of our numbers in at least 1 decade from today, that's 10 years from now, putting us 20 years deep almost on the channel, then hell, if we save up those fractions of cents that potentially we could elicit and gain as a professional celebrity YouTuber, right? Hell, we might afford to be able to buy a poppy soda and do that episode we were talking about. It's going to be fantastic. Stay tuned 10 years from now, or don't. You don't have to watch them. Just mute it. Go do life. You don't got to be here to partake in it. Participate in it. That's fine. We can be celebrities on our own, by ourselves. We already are. Believe it or not. And you might be saying, well, I've never heard of you. I've never seen you. But Josh has. That's all we care about. So, excellent show. We've done an awesome, amazing job. We're pretty much done now, though, so we're going to end it soon. We will check the ones in comments. If you have an idea for the next show, feel free to kick it in the chat of the box, and we'll do it, because if there's something we don't like doing, it's coming up with our own ideas for shows. Isn't that right, Josh? But the thing is that Josh tricked us and made us think JC comes up with all these other ideas, which sometimes he does, so it doesn't really matter. They're interchangeable. But yes, if you have an idea for a show, kick it in there. We will catch up on the chats, make sure we have not missed all ones of them that have filtered through, and we'll be ending the show soon. So if you don't want the lights turned off on you and to be bumping into shit in the dark, now's a good time. Go find another stream or something like that. Otherwise, we will also entertain any questions you have for a real-life internet celebrity before we depart. Yes, not a good one, but one nonetheless. We will catch up now, and then we will leave. I saw something where oh, well, shit, looks like we had already read all the chats. Well, I guess the show's really over now. So, again, we'll hang tight for like a minute. Get any requests for shows in now, otherwise we're going to come up with random crap. And believe you me, oh well. So, we will finish this now. We are done. So, looks like where you've been standing around, you're beginning to leave a bunch of footprints on our grass and getting it all mushed down and facing the direction we don't like. So, we don't need your subscription. We want your money. Downvote the shit out of this and give us a buck. Get off our yard.